classified as a third felony offender. Offense, forcible rape. Sentencing date, November 5th, 1998. Re-sentenced on November 26th, 2019. Sentenced to a total of 35 years. Parole date, August 1st, 2021. Good time, not eligible. Full term, June 7th, 2033. Is this information correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kelsey.
How old are you, Mr. Simmons?
68 years old, sir.
How long have you been incarcerated?
A little over going on 25 years. This year will make 25 years.
So how old were you when you committed this crime?
I think I was like 42, 43 years old.
Right, not a young man, huh?
No, sir.
So tell me what was going on with you? Drinking, doing drugs? What's that?
I was drugging and hanging with the wrong crowd and not facing my responsibilities and making bad decisions, which is nobody's fault but mine, because I was of age and I just wasn't being that humane or a responsible adult as far as taking care of my children and my wife and doing the things that I should have done, but I got led astray and did some bad things.
What have you done to improve that? See, you've taken sex offender treatment. Have you taken all the phases?
Yes, sir, I have. I've taken this time to make some positive decisions and be more responsible and also more caring for the people who love me the most, the ones I love the most. And I've tried to create a relationship with my 5 grandchildren who were born since I've been here. And I'm working pretty good at that because I'm in communication with them. I've tried to be decent in my approach as far as helping people here that are a little less fortunate. I happen to live in the reintegration dorm with a lot of guys that's taking the psychotropic medication, and some has just given up, and I've tried to help them to show them that there's a better side to this than being negative about everything and complaining, but facing your responsibilities and doing what's right.
Yeah, of course, you're had other, you're a third class offender. So I mean, yeah, you've been in trouble for a while. You had been in trouble for a while, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you currently do there? What do you do for the facility?
I'm a groundskeeper.
And when's the last time you got in trouble? I see you had a discipline back in 16, looks like, huh?
Yes, sir. That was a property destruction for a mattress that had 2 cushions inside of it.
So what's your plans if you were to be released? Where would you go? What would you do?
Well, I would have residence at my daughter's house in Folsom, Louisiana. Being that all of my immediate family has passed since I've been incarcerated, I inherited our farm, which we had Simmons Nursery and Landscaping. So I'm the last living heir to that. So I want to go and assess the trees and shrubs that are still on the property, and perhaps motivate my grandsons into helping me to do lawn maintenance. Maybe some of my old clients, I could, pick up some maintenance work there.
I mean, that's the same area you committed this terrible crime, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is.
I don't think.
However, 25 years ago, I was a different person than I am today.
Right, but they're still scared. They're still, have opposition. They still, what you've done to the victim and victim family.
the victim is incarcerated in another state. I don't know what the charges were, but she's got two brothers that is incarcerated here. And I've spoken with both of them, and there's no trouble or no problem. I know the father and I know the mother. And I hadn't reached out to these people. However, the two sons, the two brothers that are here, has told me things that was encouraging for me and showed that they had no problem with me, nor did they think that their sister was altogether truthful about what actually happened.
So you saying it happened or it didn't happen?
Yes, sir, it happened. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Did you telling me today it happened or didn't happen? You kind of
I'm
sound like you're insinuating that it didn't really happen.
No, sir, I never said that. It happened. It happened.
But you said it didn't happen maybe the way it was told. Is that what you're saying?
That she was not altogether truthful. I mean, it was drugs associated in this, and she was a drug addict, and I was a drug supplier, and certain things transpired for the exchange of the drugs, and I was there. Yes, sir.
Sound like you're in a bad spot. You do have a lot of opposition. You sure do. Warden, you have any input for us?
No, sir, nothing other than what he's talked about. He is groundskeeper for us at Camp D. And he's been there. He's made minimum C back in 2016.
All right, thank you. All right, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Well, yes, sir, I would. I'd like to thank this board for having me here. And I would actually appreciate the grace and mercy and the opportunity to spend the rest of my life with my grandchildren and get to know them better and be a productive citizen to my community.
Have you taken any substance abuse? If you were a drug dealer or a drug user, have you taken any type of, I see living in balance, but I mean, any type of NAAA, any other substance abuse?
Yes, sir, I've taken, I've taken substance abuse. And Ms. Renata advised me the last time that I was before this board, that if I would take another anger management, which was Cage of Rage, and the Madison County Risk Management Model Sex Offender Treatment Program, I've taken that. I've been an active member in Veterans Administration here at Angola. I was president of the vets at Camp D. I was vice president at Camp C. I was a member of the vets here at the main prison. I was a tier walker. I've taken several other courses in legal aid, HIV, AIDS awareness, CPR, and I have several certificates for appreciation and participation in other areas, sir.
All right, would you like to make a final statement on your behalf? Just
Sir?
anything else you'd like to say? Any final statement you'd like to say on your behalf?
No, sir, that's about it. Thank you, sir.
All right. That's kind of fair to vote. I'll vote first. Yep, look, it's done a lot of good things. I mean, you still are considered a moderate risk based on, information we have here, but you have taken everything you can take there. You've taken every class, you've taken sex offender treatment, you're 68 years old, you've been in jail for 25 or 35-year sentence. I'm willing to take a chance on you, believe it or not.
Thank you, sir.
I'm concerned about you, but I'm willing to take a chance on you today. I'm willing to both to grant you parole, no contact with victim or victim's family, or no contact with the victim's family. You'll have a curfew from 9 p to 6 a, 10 NAAA 3 times a week. Report to your PO weekly for the first 60 days.
Yes, sir.
You have random drug screens. I'm just one vote. I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm feeling, just looking at your age, looking at everything, I'm gonna give you a chance.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Jim Wise.
Jim, you're on mute. You're on mute.
All right, Mr. Jim.
Well, I'm off mute now. I said, did you come before me here a while back?
Yes, sir. I think so. When Ms. Renata was on the board, and she advised me to get the risk management and the cage of rage.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've looked at this thing every way I can look at it. Your criminal history is terrible. You've done some stupid things, but you're older now. How long have you been incarcerated at this time?
Going on 25 years, sir.
25 of a 35-year. I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you a shot because you've done some things that we asked you to do.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to tell you what, you better walk a chalk line. Today, I'm going to be granting the same as Mr. Kelsey.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Pearlwise.
Sir, my vote is to grant as well for the reasons I already stated on the record. It's an uphill climb for you, but my vote is to grant as well.
But you have 3 votes to grant your parole. You understand the stipulations, and they'll be given to you. This is your last chance, though. We don't want to see you again. Good luck to you. 3 votes to grant. Your parole's been granted. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Gosh, I hate this panel, this board. I just do. It's you get nothing out of it. They're like useless. And I tried not to be disrespectful to the board, but man, come on. Brendan Kelsey, Pro-Wise. This is a perfect here. Let's switch to this Pro-Wise on her phone right here. What a perfect snapshot of that, huh? And Jim Wise. They're all perfect for each other. They just shouldn't be on the board with each other. And let's go over what he did, because of course you would have no idea. We would have no idea without this information. And thank you, Richard. So this is what he did. The victim of the instant offense was a married 20-year-old mother. She's 20. She's a mother of 2 children. On November 16, 1997, between 10 and 10:30 p.m., the victim left her home in her 1986 Mazda to go to a restaurant to take a friend, a female employee at the restaurant, home. On the way to the restaurant, the victim stopped at the corner of Kenton Street, a dark wooded area not far from the restaurant. While she was at the intersection, the defendant jumped inside her car with a flashlight. He told, always have your doors locked. It's like a habit that I get into. I lock it. He told the victim to drive or he would hit her in the head with a flashlight. The victim was afraid and did as she was told. Although she did not personally know the defendant called her by her first name and told her he knew she had a husband and 2 children. He knew that, and he, the defendant wanted to know if she had an ATM card or money. She told him she did not have such a card. He began digging in everything inside the car. The victim drove to McDougal Road as she was told. The defendant then told her to drive to Yates Road, and she complied. At this location, under the defendant's threats to beat her with a flashlight, she was forced to smoke Pepsi and perform oral on the defendant. He also got on top of her and sexually assaulted her and became very angry when he discovered she was bleeding which was due to her recently having a baby. Oh my God. The defendant made the victim wipe blood from his genitals with her bra paper in her hands. From the Yates Road location, the defendant had the victim drive to several other locations while he was smoking his narcotics. When the victim tried to go toward Lee Road, the defendant jerked the steering wheel and made her go in another direction. He told her not to swerve, go fast, or do anything to give anyone a reason to stop them, and threatened to hurt one of her children if she told the police or anyone what had happened. The defendant also told the victim he was taking her to Bogalusa to prostitute her. When the defendant told her he was getting ready to make her pull over and let him drive, the victim began looking for a house with lights on where she might get someone to help her. The victim tried to pull into a driveway and killed the car's motor. The defendant hit her several times in her face and hit her in the head with a flashlight. Fighting back, the victim kicked herself out of the car and fell on the ground. Screaming and crying, the victim ran to a nearby home where the occupants let her come inside. In making her escape, the victim assumed the defendant drove away her car. The incident was reported to the police, and the victim was taken to hospital where she was examined and received medical attention. So this is the man who the parole board wants to take a chance on. I'll take a chance on you. I don't know why, but I'll take a chance on you. You know, they literally they put nothing into this interview, nothing at all. And it is just an insult to the survivor. And it's just disgusting. It's unbelievable. At about 12:45 a.m. on November 17, 1997, the Tammany Parish Sheriff's Detective Mike Dubus was notified of the instant offense and began his investigation of the crime. The victim's car was found burning in Bogalusa and determined to be a total loss as a result of the fire. So he lit the car on fire. We see people get as much time as he got just for stealing a car, right? The detective met with the victim, who helped put together a computer-generated composite sketch of the attacker. I wonder what that computer-generated sketch looks like in the 90s. Like, really? After Killingsworth viewed the composite sketch and spoke to the victim, he suspected the defendant, an individual he knew from Folsom area, was the perpetrator. A photo lineup was assembled, and the victim selected the defendant's picture for the lineup. A warrant was obtained for the defendant's arrest. The warrant was executed by the police at a home where the defendant's niece was living with her grandfather. Ms. Simmons consented to a search of the house. During a room-to-room search, the defendant was found inside an armory. The officer in armor, is that what it is? The officer repeatedly ordered the defendant to get out and to show his hands. However, the defendant would not get out and showed only his left hand. Finally, the officer forcefully removed the defendant from the armor, handcuffed him, and advised him of his constitutional rights. It was determined that the backside of the defendant's right leg had been burned. The officer also found wet clothing in the washing machine. This clothing matched the victim's description of the clothing the defendant was wearing at the time of her attack. Ms. Simmons giving the consent to search about 5:30 p.m. The apprehension. Okay. Then they say it was an excessive sentence. And this is part of his parole. And it was denied, of course. But so he was sentenced, was commuted to a number. So the defendant cites in arguing that prior to resentencing, he was eligible for parole after serving 15 years in his former sentence. Why was he resentenced? In the sole assignment of error, the defendant argues that the sentence imposed on remand is excessive and under circumstances of this case, while the defendant concedes that the imposed sentence is well within the statutory limits. He notes that he is 65 years old and has demonstrated his capacity for rehabilitation. The defendant further claims that the newly imposed sentence alters his parole possibility to the detriment of increasing number of years that he must serve before becoming eligible. So this appeal is recent. This appeal this was rolled on June 4th, 2021, and this is what gave him the opportunity for parole. So this probably was not Act 122, but actually an appeal to give him less time. So the defendant, in arguing that prior to the resentencing, he was eligible for parole after serving 15 years on his former sentence of life. So he was given life. He contends that because his sentence was commuted to a number of years, he is instead eligible for parole after serving 26 and 1/4 years, 75% of his 35-year sentence. I'm confused because I don't understand when his sentence was. They didn't talk about this, did they? But I don't know. Maybe if one of you know the answer, put it in the comment section. Okay. So he was charged and sentenced as a third felony habitual offender to life. So he was given life. He appealed. The court affirmed the defendant's conviction and sentenced. Louisiana Supreme Court denied the defendant's application of writ. Subsequently, on April 17, 2018, the defendant filed a motion to correct a legal sentence wherein he argued he was entitled to more lenient sentence because of a 2001 law. The trial court denied the defendant's motion. So then he filed another application. And then in this court for writ supervisory review, the court vacated the district court ruling denying the defendant motion to correct a legal sentence and remanded the case to district court for resentencing. So eventually he somehow won and it was resentenced. And so he got from life to 35 years. So, yeah. So what we just figured out is that he was given a life sentence because he was an habitual offender. He somehow, after I guess the third try for him, third time's a charm, won an appeal where they took the life away, gave him 35 years, and now he's out 10 years early. So he went from life to serving 25 years. And no DA. We don't know how much trauma this caused the survivor after, when they contacted her. We don't even know if they did. But a newly married 20-year-old with 2 babies who just had a baby, and this is what he did to her. Don't take a chance on him. And with that, I'll let you go.